This is the story of 9-year-old Melodee Elani Buzzard, a young girl whose disappearance in October 2025 softened hearts across the nation, but whose tragic death 2 months later shocked the world. Melodee Elani Buzzard was just 9 years old when her life was cut short under circumstances so perplexing and heartbreaking they defy easy explanation. She lived in Vandenberg Village, California, near the coast, a life filled with ordinary childhood things like school, friends, and family, until the day she vanished. Melodee was the daughter of Ashlee Lynn Buzzard, 40, and the late Rubiel Meza, who died in a motorcycle accident when Melodee was an infant. For years, her extended family had tried to stay involved, but according to relatives, contact had sometimes been limited, a detail that in hindsight saddened many who followed the case. In October 2025, Melodee's life and her mother's story would take a dark and bewildering turn that would soon grip the attention of the entire nation. On the morning of October 7, 2025, surveillance footage captured Melodee and her mother at a local car rental facility in Lompoc, California. They were preparing to embark on what would initially be described as a multi-state road trip, but it soon became clear it was anything but ordinary. In the clips, both Melodee and Ashlee are seen wearing disguises, including wigs that altered their appearances. Melodee's hair looked dramatically different, longer and darker than her usual appearance, raising immediate red flags about what was to come. Over the next several days, authorities later determined, the pair traveled across multiple states, including Nevada, Arizona, Utah, and Nebraska, sometimes swapping the rental car's license plates and using tactics believed to help them evade law enforcement surveillance. It was an extremely unusual itinerary for a simple family trip. On October 9th, Melodee was last seen alive on a surveillance camera near the Utah-Colorado border. It would be the final confirmed sighting of the young girl. Just 1 day later, on October 10th, Ashlee Buzzard returned alone to Lompoc, California, driving the same rental vehicle, but without Melodee. There was no explanation, no immediate report of her daughter's disappearance, and no sign of what had happened on the trip. Her absence did not trigger an immediate missing persons investigation, not right away at least, because Ashlee never reported her missing. It wouldn't be until October 14th, when Melodee failed to show up for school and officials noticed her prolonged absence, that a call was placed to law enforcement. On October 14th, a school administrator reported Melodee's unexplained absence to the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, triggering the missing persons investigation. Detectives went to the Buzzard residence, but Ashlee refused to cooperate or explain where her daughter was. Instead, she provided evasive answers that heightened suspicion rather than offering clarity. As days passed and no trace of Melodee was found, public and law enforcement concern grew. The FBI joined the case, and what began as a local missing persons report quickly became a multi-state investigation involving federal and local agencies working together. Despite law enforcement's efforts, progress was slow and frustration mounted. Relatives, friends, and community members gathered outside the Buzzard home, holding signs and chanting, "Where is Melodee?" As days turned into weeks, the story captured national attention, drawing in armchair detectives and true crime sleuths across social platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Online, theories multiplied, some helpful, many not. But the central fact remained heartbreaking. A child had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and her mother had no solid explanation. In early November, Ashlee Buzzard was arrested on an unrelated charge, false imprisonment, after an acquaintance alleged she held him captive in her home. However, those charges were later dropped after evidence surfaced suggesting the situation may have been mischaracterized. Still, this incident only heightened scrutiny on Ashlee and added another layer of complexity to an already disturbing case. Throughout this period, however, authorities still had no definitive evidence about Melodee's fate. The breakthrough came on December 6, 2025, nearly 2 months after Melodee was last seen alive, when a couple taking photographs along State Route 24 in rural Wayne County, Utah, stumbled upon something no one expected. In a remote area outside Caneville, they found what appeared to be human remains, badly decomposed and laying off the roadside where few people travel. Sheriff's deputies and investigators were called immediately. At first, the remains could not be positively identified, but it was clear the victim had suffered gunshot wounds to the head. It wasn't until December 22nd that investigators received confirmation of what they had dreaded. Familial DNA testing revealed the remains belonged to Melodee Buzzard. For Melodee's family, the news was a devastating confirmation of their worst fears. Her paternal grandmother, who had remained involved and hopeful throughout the search, was informed personally by authorities. As law enforcement officials described it, it was both a tragedy and a grim breakthrough in a case that captured national attention. Within hours of the DNA confirmation, on December 23, 2025, Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown, flanked by FBI agents and multiple law enforcement partners, announced that Ashlee Lynn Buzzard had been arrested in connection with her daughter's murder. She was taken into custody peacefully at her home in Lompoc, booked at the Santa Barbara County Northern Branch Jail, and charged with first-degree murder in the death of her daughter. The sheriff's office emphasized that the investigation had uncovered significant evidence linking Ashlee to the crime, including ballistic evidence, where cartridge cases found at the Utah crime scene matched those found in her residence. According to authorities, the crime was not accidental, not impulsive, and not without planning. Sheriff Brown described the killing as calculated, cold-blooded, and premeditated. Although Melodee died from gunshot wounds to the head, and forensic evidence tied Ashlee firmly to the scene, a motive has not yet been clearly established by investigators. No murder weapon has been recovered as of latest announcements, and authorities continue to pursue every lead, but Ashlee Buzzard remains uncooperative with the ongoing investigation. The reaction from Melodee's extended family has been one of overwhelming grief mixed with disbelief. Relatives had previously expressed concern about Ashlee's involvement in her daughter's life, and some had once pursued custody due to worries about her ability to care for the child, though nothing had ever been legally resolved. Across social media and media outlets nationwide, the story spurred outrage and sorrow. Vigils, hashtags, and public calls for justice poured in after the announcement of her death. True crime communities that had followed the case's twists and turns expressed shock at the sudden turn from missing person to murder investigation. As of now, Ashlee Buzzard is held without bail at the Santa Barbara County Northern Branch Jail, awaiting forthcoming court proceedings and trial dates. Prosecutors in California are preparing to pursue murder charges, while legal discussions continue about whether additional charges could be filed in Utah, where Melodee's body was discovered. Motive, intent, and a complete timeline will be central to the legal battle ahead, and investigators say they are committed to uncovering every piece of evidence in this tragic case. This case is not only about a missing child, it's about trust, family, and the unimaginable horror of a parent accused of killing her own child. It raises urgent questions about how missing children investigations are handled, how families communicate, and how warning signs are evaluated. It also reflects the power and frustration of public attention. Melodee's case drew widespread engagement, but in the end, it was cold forensic work, traditional detective diligence, and tireless investigation that led to answers. The death of Melodee Buzzard is a sobering reminder that real heartbreak waits behind the headlines. As this case moves through the justice system, we will continue to follow every development and bring you updates with accuracy and compassion. If you have any information related to this case, you are urged to contact the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office.